All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Last night, NBA Finals Game 5 was a wild one. The Oklahoma City Thunder got the win 120 to the Indiana Pacers 109, and I fear this series may be over for Indiana. From what I saw last night, we're going to talk about the game, talk about some big players, some big plays, and all that good stuff. If you like what I have to say, like the video. If you have your own opinions, comment it down below. And if you just like the vibes, consider subscribing. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. We'll try to keep this relatively short here, but you never know. I might just ramble on about nothing. um, the overall vibe of the game, before we get too deep into the numbers, the overall vibe of this game, I don't want to say was tense, but it was very uh, tactical from both teams. Both teams ran their, I would say, somewhat normal offense. Both teams um, were successful on the defensive end. That's been the story of the last like 2, 3 games. Both teams really locking in on defense, really trying to key in on a few guys on each other's rosters. And I found it very interesting. Well, one, I have to preface this whole thing with Tyrese Halliburton went down with a non contact leg injury early in the first quarter, I believe. It was the first quarter. And he wasn't right. He after that he wasn't right. He was just out there because it was the NBA Finals. I assume if it wasn't the NBA Finals, he probably would have. He probably wouldn't have played. He probably wouldn't have come back into the game. He played terribly, and as he played terribly, at some points the team was only down 4, 6 points down the stretch. I'm talking like maybe 3 minutes left, 4 minutes left. They were only down single digits. So this Pacers team was fighting, man. And I thought to myself as I was watching the latter half of this game, I was like, oh my God, the Pacers are going to do it again. The Pacers are going to do it again. And without Tyrese, I think that was just in my head from what I've seen over the past like 3 rounds of basketball. I was just so used to the Pacers coming back and Tyrese chipping in a little bit. He doesn't always have put the best complete games together, but he'll show up at the end. This game, his numbers: 4 points, 3 turnovers, 3 personal fouls, 6 assists, 7 rebounds. Did not make a three, did not make a field goal. He shot 4 free throws and had 4 points. So did not have a bucket while everybody else was in motion. Everybody else was standing still while he got his points. And I don't want to say it was hard to watch. Tyrese is such a I don't even know how to say this. How he's such a mindful player. Like he knows his role. He knows how to get his team involved, and he tried his best. I mean, 6 assists, 7 rebounds. He tried his best, but they needed that little bit of scoring because when it really got down to it, and I was really hopeful for them to get this win. When it got down to like 6, 4 points, they needed Tyrese. They just needed a little bit from him, and for the first time, I think he really couldn't give it to him. He really couldn't. I think he was in so much pain. And I mean, we'll talk about the Pacers a little bit more in a minute, but we need to talk about Oklahoma. Oklahoma did not play well, except big except for the MVP Shea Alexander, 31 points, 10 assists, um, 4 blocks, two steals. Did not hit a three. Not a great series for him shooting the three ball. 9 of 21. A pretty standard game from him. Not the most efficient. But man, oh man, I was talking about it the whole. I think I talked about it in my last video. I talked about it in the one before that. Is that somebody else needs to give this Oklahoma City team something, and it hasn't happened yet. And last night it happened. Jalen Williams stepped up big time when nobody else wanted to step up. Um, 40 points, his first 40-point game in the playoffs, in the finals, on the biggest stage. Um, 4 assists, 9 of 12 from free throw, 3 of 5 from three. He was hitting those threes. 14 of 25. Not the best efficiency, but You take him where you can get him, and what he got was 40. um, I'm just so it reminded me a lot, and somebody else said this. I forget who it was. Somebody else said this. It reminded me a lot of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown from the previous finals, um, heating up at the same time, and you just couldn't stop either of them. You were making them work, but they were just working through it. There were some really tough layups for Jalen Williams. Shea obviously is, I think, one of the best tough shot makers in the NBA right now. But Jalen Williams has taken that step, and he showed up big time. And I was waiting for it. It was either going to be him or Chet or Alex Crusoe. It was going to be one of these guys, and um, these are. It's so funny because the NBA has so much history, and you can I can remember games where players had big moments, and whether it was one moment or a game or a quarter, this is one of those games for Jalen Williams, and it's so special because he's so young. How young is Jalen Williams? He's my age. He's 24. Yeah, yeah, only 24, man. He's not even really in his prime. None of these guys are in their prime besides Shea. And J Dub took it to the next level. Chet still a bit spotty. I think we've all just come to the conclusion that he's just not made for this moment quite yet. He's a bit too young. He's a bit too inexperienced. Um, it is what it is. He looks. I meant to say this in my last video. He looks like a deer on ice sometimes. He just goes into the lane. He's like, just throw something up, fade, floater, like back to the like he just doesn't know what he wants to do. Versus watching Jalen Williams and Shea Alexander, they know exactly what they want to do. They know exactly where they want it. They know exactly how they're going to get it. And even if they don't get it, they're going to get the rebound. They're going to tip it back out to their teammates. They're going to do all the extra stuff. And not to say Chet doesn't do those latter things, those last couple things I mentioned, but it doesn't have the same gravitas when you have 9 points, 3 blocks, and 11 rebounds. It's like, okay, cool, good role player on a finals team that will probably win the championship. Good for you, Chet. Pat yourself on the back. I'm not impressed. Nobody's impressed by you. they're impressed by the potential of you, but not you in your current moment in these finals. You look, eh, not impressive. Only made 1 3 though, so he made one. The rest of the team, Isaiah Hartenstein, 4 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. Not too bad. Um, they did run the double big lineup again. Hartenstein and Holmgren were in the starting lineup for this team. We already ran over Shea. Lou Dort, 9 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. Lou and Kason Wallace and Alex Caruso had some phenomenal plays down the stretch. Um, and I've been trying to figure out how I want to say this for like this whole series. When there's a loose ball, I think I've tried to say it, and I'll say it again though. When there's a loose ball, when there's a tip out, when there's anything like that, the players that I just named, Lou Dort, Kason Wallace, Alex Caruso, even the other guys on this team, they will sprint when other guys are running. You know? That's the difference to me in this Oklahoma City Thunder team is why they win these close games is they will sprint, they will jump high, they will fight for the ball. And not to say the Pacers don't, but they're just a second late to the ball. It's always a second late. Like I've seen it so many times. It's a second late. It's their fingertips touching. It goes out of bounds. It's Oklahoma ball still. It's just the tiny little things that Oklahoma is able to squeeze out of every possession they get, and it's impressive. It's super duper impressive. Um, I'm trying to think. At the end of the game, I forget somebody was bringing up the ball and they were being all willy nilly with it. And Kason Wallace got in there. It was one of the cleanest steals of the ball I've seen. Got in there, poked it. It rolled on the floor for like 2 seconds. He picked it up. I'm not sure if he laid it up or passed it off to somebody, but that encapsulated the whole game where Tyrese isn't right. He's really your only good ball handler in the sense of you trust him to bring up the ball almost every possession. And whenever anybody else is doing it, it ends up like that, where they're just willy nilly with the ball. They're not situationally aware of like this is the freaking finals. I need to keep this ball as close to me and as tight to me as I can, and just not let them get these pokes, get these steals, and everything like that. Um, as we look at the Pacers numbers here, it was a Pascal Siakam 28-point game, 6 turnovers, 2 blocks, 3 steals, 5 assists, 6 rebounds. Made 3 of 6 from threes, 9 of 15 overall from field goal in 33 minutes. He was out there doing everything because Tyrese wasn't out there. He sat for huge parts of the game at points. Um, let's see who else is here. Aaron Nesmith, 14 points, 6 rebounds, 4 threes made, took 5 of them. Miles Turner, 13. Tyrese Halliburton, 4. Andrew Nemhard, 7. Um, they lost the turnover battle. I think they had 19 turnovers as a team. Let me double check that because they did say it on the broadcast, but they 23. Damn, they 23 by the end of the game. Yeah, that tracks. Because the starting lineup was at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. The starters by themselves had 15 of those turnovers. Um, yeah, not good. Not good. Obi Toppin had moments, especially I think it was late in the third where he was heating up. And that was the moment where I was like, oh my God, the Pacers are going to come back. They didn't, but um, he had 12, 1 steal, 1 turnover, 4 rebounds, made 1 3, 5 of 11 from field goal overall. Really good stuff for him. Um, I always feel a certain way when you waste these good games from role players. These really good games. TJ McConnell, 18 points, 2 steals, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. You don't get 18 from TJ all the time. Sort of a wasted game. Um, it's hard, man. It's hard because you get these games from these role players, and you just sort of throw the game away at the end, just due to lazy passes, um, not really paying attention. I think at times just being, I said this about Oklahoma too. Sometimes you just look overwhelmed out there. You just look like, oh my god, I don't know what to do. Oh crap, we're in the finals. Oh what? And then it was so crazy because again the Pacers would get it within 4 points, 6 points, and then the Pacers and then Oklahoma, they'd be like, nah, that's a little too close. They go back up 10, back up 15, and then you could see the Pacers. They were just so like not. They were just so dejected. They were so like not even confused, just like dumbfounded, And it goes both ways for both teams, man. I think both teams have felt that throughout this series, but I really do think I think Indiana was this game 4. Last game was game 4. Oklahoma Pacers wasted game 4 to go up 3-1. They went back into Oklahoma. They tried to duplicate what they knew how to do, and they couldn't do it. Even Jalen Williams said in his post-game interview, he said, "This game felt like game 1 all over again, but we won. That was the only difference." And I concur with that statement wholeheartedly. Um, and the Pacers come into game 5, and they play well. But these are the minutes, the inches, the whatever you want to call it that decide a series in any league. And you always think back, and you shouldn't think like this during the series, but after the series, you can always think back and say, "Damn, what if we won game 4?" What if we won game 4? Because now you have an opportunity to go back home. You get 2 days rest, I think, right? Or is it 2 days or one? No, no. It's 2 days. It's 2 days rest because next game's on Thursday, I think. You get 2 days rest to think, to really look yourself in the mirror and say, do we really want the Oklahoma City Thunder celebrating an NBA championship, their first NBA championship as the Oklahoma City Thunder? on our floor. And you have to look yourself in the mirror and say, hell no, we're not letting that happen. We're going to game seven. That's what you have to do. Um, am I convinced the Pacers can stall Oklahoma one more time to force a game seven? I've doubted the Pacers time and time again. I picked them in this series, but my trust is waning a little bit, man. If Tyrese isn't going to be 100%, I'm very concerned. I'm super concerned that Thursday might be the last night of NBA basketball, and the Oklahoma City Thunder might be NBA champions. um, yeah, so that's it for the game, pretty much. Let's check some team stats here. I know the Pacers led once; they led by 3. I don't even know when that was. If I go to the play-by-play, I think I could probably find it here real quick. I think it was in the fourth. I'm looking. Nope, no. It was in the third. They led in the third by 3 at some point. Um, so there's that. Guess that's something to look forward to. But that's something to pat yourself on the back about. But the Oklahoma City Thunder led by 18. They led by 18. Oh man! And you look at some of these numbers. These numbers are close, man. Like field goal percentage. Pacers had the Oklahoma City beat by 3%, 45-42. Um, Oklahoma shot the three ball better almost by 10%. Free throws were very close, only separated by 1%. Uh, Indiana had 5 more rebounds. Um, Oklahoma had 1 more assist. These are very close numbers, man. These are very close numbers. And it's a tough break for Indiana. But I said it at the beginning of the series. Oklahoma is the better team by every metric. By every metric, every advanced stat, every regular stat. They're the better team. The Pacers just have more heart. And the heart is starting to not beat anymore, man. Especially if Tyrese can't play. Oh boy, they might be in some trouble. Um, I do want to tag this in at the end here. Um, Following up on the Kevin Durant stuff I talked about yesterday, um, there's been a lot of evolving conversations, we'll put it that way, about I mentioned it, Kevin Durant vocally not wanting to go to Minnesota, but Minnesota really wanting him. But Phoenix, his current team, not finding what assets they want in in other teams, but they could find it in Minnesota, and they're trying to let Kevin come around to the thought of maybe, hey, you could play in Minnesota. You could play with Anthony Edwards. You could play with Anthony Edwards. And there's a lot of thought process behind that of could you convince him maybe to try it out for a year and then sign at the end of the year, not do the deal immediately. That's very talking about next year. That's very, very rough to do because if you fail in the second round, Minnesota again, KD's probably gone and you've just lost a hell of a lot of assets. Um, so there's that. There's another thing that was reported by Kurt Goldsberry from The Ringer. Um, pretty reliable source. Um, he reported that the Phoenix Suns reportedly asked for the Spurs' number 2 pick and/or Stephon Castle in trade talks centered around Kevin Durant. I think that's the bare minimum. Either I want Castle or I want the second pick. And personally, I would prefer Castle because I know what Castle is. He just won Rookie of the Year. You know what I mean? I would prefer to have Stephon Castle in the number 2 pick and pick one of these guys. I do not trust the front office to make the right pick, so I would just I'd take Stephon Castle and go about my day, figure out how the money needs to work to get that deal done, and then send Kevin off to off to San Antonio, man. Um, but yeah, I just want to tag that in at the end here because this Kevin Durant thing is so interesting. I said it was going to be interesting heading into the heading into the playoffs when Phoenix was eliminated, I talked about Kevin Durant a little bit and his future in other spots. Um, and it seems to be right on the money. It seems to be around those teams in Texas, the two teams, Houston and San Antonio, and then throwing a couple oddballs here: Miami, Minnesota, Toronto, LA, and the Clippers. There was also a report that came out at the trade deadline, this past trade deadline. Let me make that very clear. This is a rumor from this past trade deadline that just came out now. Um, that Kevin Durant was open to going to New York or Boston. Those are the only teams he really wanted to go to when there were trade talks around the trade deadline, that he would possibly not be in Phoenix. Obviously, those didn't materialize, but that's very interesting to think about. That Kevin was really just trying to go to another team and not have to work for or build anything, just be on another super team. And Kevin has not had the best track record of going to teams and making them better or making them competitive. He's on the wrong side of 35. I think a team like um, Houston, like San Antonio, is the best option for him. But that's it. If you like what I say, like the video, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And you guys will get a WNBA video tomorrow. I'm going to record that right after this one. So we'll see what that video is. It should be a fun one. Check out um, my other NBA stuff. And yeah, that's it. I will see you all next time. Cheers.